This is Attorney Mark T. Harris here in Sacramento, California, and I am here, unfortunately, with some young men and their families who were treated completely unfairly and irresponsibly by the Merced Police Department. All of this emanated from events that took place in Merced, California on July the 8th, the evening, into the morning of July 9th. So what we're talking about is a Saturday night event that moved into Sunday morning right at midnight and just past midnight, and an altercation that occurred relative to law enforcement. Let me set the background. UC Merced students hosted a party in Merced celebrating summer session. The fact that a number of them were in summer session, they invited friends and family from throughout California. Some of the young people who were there were from the Bay Area, they were there from Los Angeles, they were there from all over California celebrating academia. How about that? Celebrating being engaged in an academic enterprise. They had rented a public place, public access to a private location, a lounge in downtown Merced. And at that lounge they had a party. They hosted a party. They invited a broad spectrum of young people, none of whom created any problem whatsoever. There was no report of excessive noise. There was no report of drunkenness, of drug use, of anything. It was just our kids being our kids in a social context. The party was scheduled to end at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, July 9th. Right around midnight, plus or minus, they had a situation where law enforcement entered into the party without announcing the fact that they were law enforcement and just proceeded to look and glare at our young people without saying anything justifying why they were there. They left and came back, and when they came back, it turned out that as one young woman was dancing, she inadvertently bumped into one of the officers who proceeded to tell her, "Get the fuck off me, nigger," and all hell broke loose, as one can imagine. At that point, law enforcement then decided to herd everybody up and start pushing them towards the exits and telling them they had to leave. As some of our young people tried to leave, they found the doors were barricaded, and they became panicked being in an environment with law enforcement behaving in this manner with barricaded doors. One thing led to another, this led to that, and at the end of the night, many of our kids had been tased, many of our kids had been punched, many of our kids have been hit with the bean bags, and if you've ever experienced that, it's not pleasant. One young man may have broken ribs by virtue of the bean bag hitting him in the ribs. And so what we have gathered around this conference room table are the young men themselves, who I've advised not to say anything more than their name, where they're from, what year in school they are, where they attend college, and their parent and parent figures.
Saying, this is my family, and I'm here because I'm very interested, because all I keep telling them is to get an education where they can be able to take care of themselves, and they're doing a good job at it. I just don't understand why anyone would lock the doors and tell them, "Nigga, where you think you're going," when only they were trying to go home.
Young man?
My name is G. Beck. I'm from Oakland, California, and I go to school in West Virginia.
Thank you.
My name is Issa Bey. I'm a mechanical engineering student at the University of California, Merced, and I'm from Oakland, California.
My name is Nadar Bey. I'm from Oakland, California. I'm a student at Laney College. I'm also a full-time electrician and project manager.
Basir Farad Muhammad. It's unfortunate we have to be here again today with the same old problem, the same old story. Our young youth being attacked by racist police that call themselves representing the so-called justice system in America. Enough is enough. This is my family. And it's not going to be the same old outcome that it normally be, where we jumping up and down, having protests, and then the police come out on top when you have evidence in your eyes that we have our people being murdered right on video. Their life was put in danger, not the police, because they had no business being in there. And first and foremost, they didn't even follow police procedure or protocol. And what I know is that there's an internal investigation going on now inside the Merced Police Department on the use of force, but they shouldn't even been using. They shouldn't even been in there in the first place. What were they looking for? Under the pretense that it was a warrant, they came in like stormtroopers because they know the venue was filled with young black people, and they came in there to attack them. And that's where they end up.
My name is Yakub Bey from Oakland, California, and I'm a student at Merced College.
I'm Mr. Bay, and I'm the father of the students who are involved in this situation. And I agree with what everyone else has said, that this nonsense has to stop. This would not happen. You know, at this point, Merced has become a college town, and you don't see college towns as Berkeley, Stanford, Palo Alto, or San Francisco State, San Jose. You don't see college town. You don't see police officers acting in this way in a college town, not when it's white students. So again, I think that UC Merced and the Board of Regents and the governors and everyone else who's funding UC, the UC system, they need to take a look at this, because why would they even open up a campus in a town that has this type of racism and this type of police force? They have endangered the lives of the Black and Hispanic and the Asian students who go to UC Merced. It's hard to even recommend going to that college at this time, because they're the biggest taxpayers there. They have a lot of say-so with the city. And so for them to act like this is not, they're not involved, doesn't make any sense.
Simply said, once again, these are our kids. My own son was a student at UC Merced and a graduate of UC Merced. This is our family, and our family should feel safe in a campus environment such as the University of California at Merced. The fact that one of our students proudly invited his family to the school and had this be the legacy that was imprinted in their mind. These young men are traumatized. I can see it in their face. One of them smiled the whole time they've been together with me. Nobody's skinning and grinning. They take this very seriously, and they've been physically, mentally, and emotionally abused through this process. So we hope that those of you who are within the sound of our voice or within view will stay with us and rally with us as we try to pull together support for these young people. These are exactly the kind of young men we want all of our kids to grow up to be. And with that, I close.